What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another roster bubble video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications, and live stream House Video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out as well because we're still in the dead time of the NFL offseason. Training camp is about a month away. So sharing this out, getting the word out, and getting more people to this video will really help. So appreciate that. If you guys haven't been to a roster bubble video before, how I do these videos is I take a player that's on the cusp of getting cut and making the roster, so right in between, and I focus on their background, their profile, competition, who are they competing with for a roster spot, how they could win a roster spot, how they could lose a roster spot, and then a prediction at the end. So today's candidate is Jack Anderson, former Bills, former Eagles guard, Jack Anderson. So, what's the profile on Mr. Jack Anderson? Jack Anderson is 24 years old. He was drafted by the Bills, Brandon Beane and crew, in 21 as one of the late round picks, 7th round to be specific, and he did not make the roster. He was signed to the practice squad the next day after all the cutdowns and whatever, after training camp and the preseason. The Eagles signed him to the active roster, placed him on injured reserve, activated, and then he was waived during the final cuts, of course, in 22. And the Giants, well, they picked him up. They said, hey, listen, we have familiarity with this guy. We're going to sign him. And Jack Anderson, in total, played about 12 games with the New York Giants, was inactive for some games. I don't think he was ever affected by injury. 2 games started. For Philly in 21, he played about 59% of the offensive snaps in the 2 games he played. And then for the Giants, 18% of the offensive snaps in the 12 games he played. About 147 snaps and 15% on special teams in those 12 games. And those 2 games he started the game against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, which obviously wasn't very good. And he also started in that last game, Week 18 against Philly, with the backups playing, both, I believe, at left guard. I think maybe even right guard that second time, but still interior of the offensive line. So he played 147 snaps in total, allowed a sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 6 pressures. So not great for Mr. Jack Anderson. Obviously, at this point, he's a solid depth guy at best. There are other guys he is competing with that are around the same level, higher in terms of different, skill sets, pass blocking, run blocking, and then also guys lower. If you guys listen to PFF, they gave him a better run blocking grade than pass blocking. They said he's, when it comes to worst pass blocking, run blocking, he is a worse pass blocker. And I've read up on articles and stuff like that. He is a fit for the system. He just lacks the pass blocking skill set as of this moment. He could do pin and pull, wide zone stuff because that's what the Giants like to do. They like athletic offensive guards who could pull, in the running game and also different type of play action as well. And I think Anderson fits that. So competition, what does it look like for him? Shane Lemieux, we did a video on him a few days ago. If you guys haven't already, please check that out. We detail him a little bit more in there. Lemieux, injury-riddled career to this point. I think he's played something like 14 games in 3 years. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Shane Lemieux. Marcus McKeithen coming off of a torn ACL. Obviously suffered that at FanFest last year. Not very good. But he does get the little bit of a mulligan because he was, I believe, a 5th-round pick out of UNC last year. So we'll see where he's at in the process of rehab. Josh Ezeudu, I think Ezeudu's going to make the roster either way, but Ezeudu also probably is not going to get a starting spot on the offensive line right away because the way I envision it, as of right now, left tackle Thomas, left guard Bredesen, John Michael Schmitz at center, Mark Lewinsky at right guard, and right tackle being Evan Neal. Maybe they do the rotations again. Not that I really want it to happen, but Bredesen, and then, if Bredesen gets injured or Glowinski gets injured or Glowinski gets benched, you place Ezeudu somewhere as seen fit. or whatever. But Azudu is going to compete for a backup role. I think he's going to make the roster either way. So I was just putting him in there to put him in there. How can he win? Stay healthy and get better in pass pro. I don't know why I said it with a P, but get better in pass pro. The Giants were not very good in pass pro last year. Now, I didn't think the offensive line was, again, kind of revisionist history. I don't think it was legitimately terrible. I thought it was average to slightly below average. That was, I think, one of the better offensive lines, and this is not even giving a compliment to last year's offensive line, but it was one of the better offensive lines we saw for the last few years because we saw the construction, just like the garbage that the Giants were putting out as the starting five. But the Giants need pass protectors. Zudu, he's not great in that area. Evan Neal, he's not great in that area. Glowinski, he's not great in that area. We'll see what JMS does. Andrew Thomas is obviously an elite offensive tackle in this league. So if he's good in pass pro, something Zudu really hasn't, got the grasp of yet. I also forgot to mention Wyatt Davis, if I haven't already, in terms of competition. Davis was a third-round pick out of Ohio State in 2021 of the Minnesota Vikings, bouncing around from practice squad to practice squad, played in one game with the Giants last year. That was in the Eagles game, that second Eagles game where the Giants were playing their backups. So he's another guy outside looking in, doesn't really have as much experience as a guy like Jack Anderson, or maybe about the same, to be completely honest. But how can a guy like Jack Anderson win? Improve whatever in the running game. Obviously, he's better there than pass pro. Improve your pass pro, stay healthy. How can he lose? Falls behind the depth chart. Guys like Shane Lemieux, Marcus McKeithen, and Wyatt Davis get ahead of him. He's not very good in pass pro, doesn't really improve anything, and gets bullied by second to third teamers. I don't think Anderson's going to be taking any first team snaps unless injury happens like it did last year. If you guys remember, there was all sorts of guys just going down. Max Garcia went down. John Feliciano, I think, went down at one point. There was a couple other guys that went down too. So the Giants don't want that to happen again, and they want solid depth. But how can he lose if he gets injured and regresses in his overall game? If he's not as good of a run blocker as he was the year prior, or he's just not very good in pass pro, really doesn't improve there. My prediction, to many surprise, is I think he's going to make the initial 53. This is the first one where I have him making, or at least this type of player, or, a player in general. Let's start with that. A player in general out of this series so far, I have him making the initial 53. I think familiarity saves him. Familiarity with Bobby Johnson and Brian Dable and Joe Shane, where Lemieux, as I said before, I don't think he's going to get the shot. Wyatt Davis, it's very, very much stacked odds against him. Zudu, obviously, is going to come back as it seems. McKeithen, he might be on PUP, he might not be, but torn ACL, it's a grace that he got hurt. And I'm not saying it's a grace that he got hurt, so don't clip this and fucking send it to everybody. But what I'm saying is he got hurt earlier in the year, which rehab process probably should put him around now or maybe in a few weeks ready to play professional football again. And apparently he's been taking some snaps at right tackle during the minicamp process, so that's a good thing that he's slowly coming back. But is he going to be ready for the legit shit when it comes to training camp and the preseason? And also factor in another guy, J.C. Hassenauer, is competition, but I don't think Anderson is on Hassenauer's level because Hassenauer has tons of experience at center guard. Both guard spots in center. But either way, I think Zudu makes the roster. I think Hassenauer could. I'll leave that for another video. And I think Jack Anderson makes the initial 53. So we'll see what happens. I might be wrong. I might be right. Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out as well. We will see you in the next video. Lots of content coming out this week. Peace.